Hello and welcome to the What the Nuck podcast, the podcast for Canucks fans. I'm your host, Roddy, alongside my good friend and co-host, Rabby.
Hello.
Uh, hello. How are you doing
Feel,
today,
feels
sir?
like it's feels like it's been a while. Oh
It's
my
been a hot minute.
goodness.
I
I'm
missed
behind
ya.
the scene. I'm behind the scenes now, So that's what we do.
Hey, you're still here too. Don't worry about it. All right, we missed you. Can't have you on
Uh,
the IR for too long.
no.
Um, yeah, okay, let's get right into it here, Prabby. So, I got Gunny's take on this in our last pod, talking about telling Canuck fans basically not to panic.
Yeah.
But Vancouver was in a bit of a struggling slump. They were 1-5-1 in their last 7 games, and I just wanted to get your take on it. Like, were you worried at all, like with the way this team was headed? Do you think there was bad habits that were like going to be concerns come playoff time? Like, what's your take on how this team's kind of been playing overall the last like week and a bit?
I think like leading up to the stretch that they're in now, they definitely saw some things that we were seeing last year when it was just absolute chaos with this organization. But for the most part, I don't think I was ever worried that we were going to be in this funk like for the rest of the year. Mostly because the team just looked really tired, and like that's what playing the most amount of games will do to you.
For sure.
Um, the game against the Kings last week, that one was hard to swallow. Like that I couldn't stomach that one. It was
Yeah.
hard to watch. They just looked so lifeless, and
Hmm.
it it did get me kind of on edge about like just overall like performance from the top guys and everything. But at the end of the day, like every single good team and like even the Bruins last year went through a slump, and everybody goes through a slump. And you know, there's not too much. If they were getting, because in a lot of those games they were actually, I would say they were outplaying the other team and just losing, like the bounces weren't happening. So that was like the positive I took from it. But yeah, seeing the losses pile up like that definitely brought back some memories from past that wasn't too happy with.
For sure, yeah. I think Canuck fans, like when they see an L or we we lose 3 in a row, everybody was all calm and collected, and then 4 in a row, and people were like burning down their houses and getting really,
Yep.
really worried about this club. Which fair enough, I actually think there are like some legitimate concerns. Sorry, going into playoffs here. I was actually listening to the Steve Dangle podcast with Chris Johnson was on because I believe Steve Dangle just had his kid.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Steve.
Yeah.
And he was just talking about the Leafs and how like I think they're 9-1 in the last 10, or like 8-2 in the last 10. But it is important for Vancouver to kind of flip the switch, and I know they've won 2 in a row now against the Ducks and the Kings tonight. It's important for them to turn it on and to start stringing some wins together. It's all right to have your slumps, but I think that's the reason that Boston last year got kicked out in the first round. It's straight up
Hmm.
because they had no adversity until the very end, and then playoffs came, and when push came to shove, they weren't able to close out the series because they just didn't face adversity that whole year. I think it's good that Vancouver's getting it out of the way right now,
Yeah.
but they have to fix some things because, to my eyes, the specific game, Seattle Kraken game, that was a terrible game. They just were not in it as well. Kraken looked way more, just way faster than Vancouver, and like they are a fast team, but like they just
Yeah.
outworked Vancouver in the board, in the corners and everything. And then, yeah, like you said, that Kings game, the first one, pretty brutal, losing 5-1 to the Kings.
Yeah.
Um, and then, yeah, like the other one too, the Pittsburgh game, where Vancouver had that game in the palm of their hands. And this is like one concern I guess I could bring up right now, but like the penalties that this team's taking, man. Like
Yeah.
I know Baines just got sent down. And I thought he played good in his 5 stints, but he does have some things to work out. He was taking a few too many penalties.
Yeah.
But the team is just in
Yeah.
general, like they gotta start staying out of the box, because come playoff time, if you're, doing that and you're like letting teams like the Oilers go up on you, that's a real concern. You can't be having that every game, right? So they gotta clean up their act a little bit there. But yeah, I think now things are starting to turn around for them.
Yeah.
Like we were saying, like the Ducks and Kings wins now. That's 2 in a row, and, yeah, no, things are looking up, but they gotta stay the course. They can't
Yeah.
let these bad habits creep into their game anymore.
I was,
Um,
I
yeah.
missed the Pittsburgh game last week, and I was actually kinda thankful that I
Yeah.
missed that game. That's the
Very
second time this
entertaining.
year that's the second time this year that I've missed a very entertaining game that I think would make me wanna pull my hair out,
Yeah.
there was a Pittsburgh game, and then I watched the first 2 periods of the Canucks versus the Wild, and I had to miss
Mm.
the 3rd, and then when I was just checking my phone, like, it was going crazy, so, um, I actually don't remember the Kraken game too much, but I do remember that Kings game, and I think that Kings game is gonna stick with me for quite some time. Um, but in a were you about to say something?
I was just gonna say quickly with the Kraken game, it was weird just because Vancouver was tied up in the second period at one point, 2-2. Really nice lucky bounce off of Lafferty.
Yeah.
Um,
That was
so
Jared
again,
McCann's
like
4-point game, I remember now.
yeah, yeah, McCann went
Yeah.
off on us.
Yeah, McCann
But
had 4 points.
it's just funny because, like, even in that game, like, yeah, Vancouver was not playing at their best, and the whole game, I was just like, "This looks like a loss," but they're still in it, you know what I mean? And, like,
Mhm,
that's a good thing. 5 on 5 outside of the Kraken in, the LA game where they lost 5-1, they've
mhm,
actually played really good 5 on 5, and that's what you're gonna be playing mostly come playoff time, so
mhm.
that's encouraging. The only other concern to me outside of the penalty kill is penalties they're taking is the power play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's man, it's looking ugly. It's
Yeah.
the split that they had just never made any sense to me,
No,
and
no.
I kinda like, I kind of get it, but the amount that they split was ridiculous. I think the biggest problem with the power play is they pass too much, like,
Yeah.
and it's kinda evident, and they need to get Miller off that, uh, off PD's side. They need to get him back on his half wall where he's good, and, like, he's crazy on that side, but it just seems like Tockett's being stubborn with that, and I don't get it. I just I don't understand, like, why we aren't going to do what has worked in the past.
Let me just say this too, yeah, like, here's the thing, it's March, right? We have basically a month and a bit left, and then it's gonna be playoff time come April, right?
Yeah.
Why are we splitting up the power play right now when you have, again, a month and a bit before it actually really matters for this club? Get
Mhm.
your 5 best players out on power play 1 and make it work. Like, to me, again, like, Toggett's been an amazing coach. His first
Mhm.
full season with Vancouver, he's gonna most likely win the Jack Adams for the season that he's been able to turn this Canucks club around, right?
Yeah.
But for the life of me, yeah, I don't understand. And they were scoring the odd goal. Actually, it was mainly Besser, like Miller
Mhm.
feeding it to him with the split up power plays. But it's like get your 5 best players out there because I know you're not going to be having Pius Suter on power play 1 and not Pedersen on power play 1, or then like having Bluger on power play 2, or you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
again, yeah, I think like maybe Lindholm up front for like screening
I
because he was good at getting those rebounds. But
I do support having P.S. Suter on power play 1, just not over the guys that he was there for. I think
exactly, yeah,
if you're rocking Miller, Pedersen, Besser, Hughes, and P.S. Suter, like, it's worked in the past, and it was actually looking pretty good. I
yeah.
think that is something that I'd be very on board with, and then putting Lindholm with Garland just to give that second power play unit a little bit more punch, I think that would work out great, but if we're going to split, it seems like they're back to normal now. You know, you got Hughes, you got
Yeah,
Pedersen, you got Besser. I think Garland's on it now, which I'm
it's
actually
the
kind
only
of okay
different
with right now.
the only
Um,
different part right now. Yeah.
yeah, I still would kind of prefer to see Pia Suter out there. It's
Yeah.
worked before, and there was no reason for them to stop doing it while the power play was clicking. So
Mhm.
hopefully they figure it out.
Yeah, like I said, like I would like to see Lindholm there, in the front because that's where he got his first 2 goals there against Carolina, and I just think again, consistency now is key. Even if you're struggling, like, yeah, yeah, maybe like swap the way it looks. Like put Pedersen on his offside, put Miller on his 1T side. Like switch
Yeah,
that up. Keep the movement, shoot a little bit more because they're way too selective, like you said, and
yeah,
things will work itself out. You know what I mean? But there's no
mhm,
there should be no excuse right now or no reason for Talkett and Co to put out split power play units this late into
yeah.
the season.
It's I don't understand it.
Yeah, okay. We won't talk about that anymore. We'll get rid of the
Yeah.
power play and all the struggles because we got some good news for the Vancouver Canucks fans and they already know. But 7 a.m. on a Saturday, I wasn't even up yet. I woke up at like 8:30, and I get greeted with Elias Pettersson has signed for 8 more years in Vancouver. 11.6 mil is a cap hit. Brabby, your initial thoughts on this contract extension?
It sucks to say this. My first thought was, "Oh my god, the Leafs overpaid for Nylander." The first thing I did was I thought about the Leafs, and yeah, dude, he oh my god, I'm happy that we have him locked up. I like that's obviously like the best part about it, but like a
Uh-huh.
close number 2 for me is the fact that everybody can finally shut up. Like
Oh,
I've been so sick of it for like 2.5 months now. Just
yeah.
constant. Petey's gonna leave. Petey's gonna stay. You know, Petey, what are you gonna do? Petey says, I don't know. I kind of want to wait. They say, Petey, that's not the right answer. That's not the answer we're looking for. You either tell us you want to leave or you tell us you want to stay. I'm just happy that it's over. Like the saga is now officially complete. Elias Pettersson's going to be a Vancouver Canuck for what looks like the rest of his career,
Mhm.
and I, for one, I'm excited. Vancouver, we love our Swedes. You know, we've always had good vibes with Swedish players, and he is underpaid. If I'm being
Oh,
honest,
yeah. He left money on the table, man. I think it's a
he
fair
did.
deal for both sides.
He left money on the table. JC Miller left money on the table. The only thing you can
Mhm.
hope for is down the line Quinn Hughes leaves money on the table.
Yep.
But that contract, that's some tidy work by Patrick Alvin and Jim Rutherford. And at the end of the day, it's not like PD's like, oh no, I'm playing for pennies on the dollar since I left money on the table. Bro, he's still making 11.6. Like he's making 11.6 American. So who
That's
knows whatever that is in Canada?
I know he was like the contract he was on prior to this, or the one that he's on right now, is good too, and it's a very meaty contract as well. But this is life changing, generational money. So like personal, like for Pedersen personally and like his family, this is huge. And he said he had like an emotional conversation with his mom and dad. So yeah, congratulations to him. He's absolutely earned it. He is a star player on this team, literally the best forward. I mean, Miller's this season been playing the best, but when Pedersen's at his best, he is the best forward on this team. Um, I will say
Wait,
this, Bradley. Oh, go ahead.
I hold on. I did the conversion for the 11.6.
Yeah,
It is 15.7 million Canadian per year.
not too shabby.
So we
Oh god, that's not. Yeah, that's a
and
decent amount of money. Send some
that's me
over my way, Petey.
that's me leaving some numbers out because I didn't want to go through like every single digit and tell you what the exact number is. But we
Yeah, you
times
just
that
can't
by
do it.
8, 125.6 million Canadian.
Oh my god.
Did he leave money on
Uh
the table? Should have left more, man.
yeah,
Jeez.
instead of. Oh man, but no. This is one thing I wanted to say about like the media and the fans and how it was. Yeah, I'm on your side where I thought it was absolutely ridiculously annoying and he said what he said at the start of the year, being like, "Hey, I just want to focus on this season." Now, here's the thing: Vancouver's a crazy market, hockey
Yeah.
craze market. You knew from the get go that he was going to be asked by the media, and the fans are going to be like, "Oh, this guy doesn't want to be here anymore," and the noise to any human was going to get to them at one point or another,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So, in a way, I think like the media asking him about the contract and the fans kind of just being our crazy selves push Pedersen to get this contract done mid-season.
Yeah.
Alvin and Rutherford came to him, and Elliot actually reported this. We were going to mention this in the pod. That they basically were like, "Hey, we need to know where you're at because if you actually don't want to stay here, we might have to trade you." And they had some very serious talks about him potentially going to Carolina, which
Yeah.
they have like the pieces to bring back a fair trade for sure. I don't think the trade actually got leaked or like what it could have been, but man, my head
There's
was spinning.
there were reports it was like Natchez, Pesci, and like
Yeah.
That would have been pretty unreal. Nature's and Pesci, but
Oh, it would have been
it
more than that too, but yeah.
oh, yeah, 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 but, like, those is, like, your 2 starting pieces, that'd been kind of absurd.
For
But,
sure. No, I thought it could have been like if it happened. Again, we don't know what the trade was, but Carolina was a right suitor if this
yeah,
trade went down.
Pedersen,
Um,
Aho down the middle would be just absurd.
oh yeah,
That's
if they didn't give up
That'd be
oh that yeah,
ridiculous. That'd be
my
ridiculous.
god.
I did read something though where it said, basically Carolina knew the whole time that, like, the odds of a deal being done were, like, 0.1%. Like,
Mhm.
they but they definitely were intrigued, and I think they wanted to get their foot in the door in case, like, it did go, like, to the point of where Vancouver wanted to ship him out. But
Yeah.
I think everybody in Vancouver kinda knew that, like, Petey wasn't getting traded, not yet, you know?
Well, and this is the thing too, like why if you're a team in the NHL that's able to pull this off, for example, why
Yeah.
the hell would you not? Like I mean, like Matthew Tkachuk told Calgary, "Hey, I'm leaving." And, like, now if, like, players are going into their RFA status, like, why wouldn't you knock on a team's door like Vancouver's and be
Yeah.
like, "Hey, what's the deal with Pedersen?" Like, you have to do your due diligence, you know?
Mhm.
And again, complete props to Alvin Rutherford, and Rutherford, sorry, to like just you know put this in Pedersen's mind, like let him like kind of stew in it a bit. He's a young player again. Like
Yeah.
any person would have been feeling the pressure that Pedersen was feeling, and yeah, I'm happy it's over. Like for selfish reasons, because it was just annoying to see on our Twitter feed every day.
Yeah. Mm.
Now I guess we can start complaining about Roenick's contract, but
It was,
um,
I honestly
yeah.
I wouldn't even say it was, like, a lot of the media guys that were, like, being annoying about it, but I think it's
No,
just
I'm not saying that.
it was, I'm not even gonna out him, but I'm just gonna, like, there's, like, 3 Twitter accounts on Canucks Twitter that are just
Taj,
oh, dude, stop. Stop.
I
Don't
hate
even
that
say his name.
guy.
Don't even say his name, dude. But he's
uh,
one of them, and
yeah,
there's 2 more that I just can't stand anytime they pop up on my timeline, but I
yeah,
also can't will myself to, like, block them. So, it was mostly them that were just, like, so negative about it. And then the media eventually, like, did pick up on it. I think, like, Donnie and Dolly got a lot of flack for a poll that they did about,
mm,
if Pedersen leaves, like, whose fault is it? Is it the Canucks or is it Pedersen's? And a lot of people were not too happy with the poll, which, like, I actually
yeah.
don't understand why people weren't happy with that poll. Doesn't
I
make
could
any
see why.
sense to me.
Like to me, I think that's just it's a bit of a clickbaity poll in my opinion. Like it's not the worst thing, but
Would you
again,
have done it? Would you have
no,
put that poll out?
I would
If
not
you
have done
knew
that
that no, but if you knew that poll would get as much traction as it did, would you have done it?
for our podcast. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
um,
That's what I
no man,
mean.
yeah, but they got like a huge following and all that, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think again. This Farham was actually saying this to JPAT, and I actually agree. Like the media is doing their job as a journalist to ask the tough questions to see what is going to happen to Pedersen in the
Mhm.
future, and they weren't like dogging him night in and night out. Like there were many times he said that like there was no scrum in Pedersen's locker. Like you know what I mean? Like he
Mhm.
was like they go to other players or whatever. Like I think they were respectful enough about it, and apparently, yeah, Pedersen like knew that and was like thankful for it or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and also I don't know if you saw the press conference for the extension, but he just looked so relieved, man. He was cracking jokes. Like he has like a very dry sense of humor too. And JPat
Yeah.
asks him like, was a noise getting to you? And he's like, what noise? And then he just like snickers to himself, and like it was like crickets, man. It was so funny. I love the kid. So again,
Mhm.
yeah, this is such a good thing for Vancouver. And again, like this management group is just again, they're just a normal management group, but like this, I don't know what Benning would have done in this situation. Like these guys just get things done. You don't have
Yeah.
to worry about what these guys are going to do. I have full faith with this management regime going into the trade deadline, going into the offseason next year. Like they have my trust. Like everything they've done
Yeah.
has been amazing. Again, outside of Mikheyev has been a bit of a blunder so far, but like that's it.
Yeah.
And you're gonna
No, I
have mistakes.
oh, yeah. And it's not that McKayb's completely useless. It's
No,
because
no.
he kills penalties and he's fast. He actually I'll save it for, later on, but yeah, they have that blunder under their name, but the
Mhm.
PD extension, I think, just fixes everything, if I'm being
As the
honest.
cap goes up, this
Oh,
contract will be extremely valuable. Obviously,
steal.
Miller's will be as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, this is just incredible. And I'm
The
so
window
happy.
now, dude the window now, dude, is 2 years is what I'm looking at right now, because I think
Mhm.
we have Demko and Hughes signed for a minimum of, like, next season and the season afterwards, and I think
Yeah, that's
that's when
right.
we really, really gotta go for it, and
Yeah,
I'm really it's just nice that this is finally over with, and now, like, even us, like, we spend so much time on cap friendly, and, like, I know a lot of people spend so much time on cap friendly, but,
yeah.
like, looking ahead to next year, like, there's such a the picture is so much more, like, just in our face. Like, before it was all hazy. I honestly didn't know what to expect for next year, but the
Mhm.
Pedersen contract has just like, it's still a little blurry, but man, you can see almost what this management group is going for next year, and it's so good to see.
For sure, and yeah, like, I agree with you. The window is in these 2 years with Demko and Hughes being on pretty friendly contracts. Yeah, both Demko and Hughes have
Like,
amazing contracts right now.
absurd contracts. I think it was
Yeah,
Jimbo Slice that signed Demko to that 5 by 5,
he
right?
did. He did, yeah.
Yeah. Attaboy,
Good
Jim.
signing. Thank you,
Yeah,
Jim.
yeah.
Um,
Jesus.
but but yeah, and the other thing too with like the OEL buyout, like I think in years 3 and 4, or is it 4 and 5? I can't remember. But anyways, it's gonna be up to 4 mil. So they're gonna have to
Yeah,
make do with
we're
what they're
getting
gonna do
dogged.
here. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a player right there. So like, yeah, they have to compete in the now, which they are going to do. And I'm loving everything that's coming up Canucks right now.
yeah,
Outside of a couple of concerns in their game as of late, like we were talking about,
yeah,
this team's in good hands, so we don't have to worry or don't fret about that.
yeah.
Um, Now on to some games here. Vancouver in their last two, they're on a two-game winning streak or a two-game heater if you'd like. They beat the Ducks, which was Talk had actually described it as a bit of a grindy game, which I kind of agree with. It wasn't like a walk in the park. It wasn't Vancouver's picture perfect game. They were
No,
dominating at points, but the Ducks
yeah.
kind of fought back a bit, and I was honestly like a little worried. But Vancouver wins 2-1. Did you have any? What were your thoughts on that game, and like how'd you see it play out?
Uh, I think I recorded the game. I wasn't able to watch it initially, but
Mm.
yeah, I don't care how the wins come now, as long as they come. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, yeah. No, like this
Dude,
game. Or sorry, go ahead.
I'm okay with that. Like grindy games, dude. At the end of the day, Vancouver has scored so many goals this year, but the playoffs, like 2-1, right?
Yeah,
The
yeah.
last two games we've played have been 2-1 games.
Yeah,
I'm okay with that. That's what the playoffs are gonna be, close games where one mistake can cost you just so much, and I'm happy that the boys aren't just obviously, if they were pumping teams, I'd be okay with that too, but it's nice
mhm.
that, like, we're get to see more playoff type games from the boys.
For sure. Yeah, like, I honestly, Dostal was playing a pretty good game against, Vancouver this game,
Yeah,
so he definitely kept the Ducks in it. Again, the Ducks had a couple of chances to score, but, they just couldn't finish, and yeah, honestly, in a way, like, thank you, Anaheim, because it was a grindy game. Vancouver's gotta get used to this playoff style
yeah,
hockey, and yeah, DeSmith gets his first win since January 9th. I feel happy for him
yeah,
on that front. He had his in his post game, he was like, "This is like the happiest I've been about a win in a long time," and it
yeah,
was pretty adorable. Dude, that guy actually
he is,
such
yeah,
good interviews.
yeah. Honestly, yeah, he just seems like he's also good for the locker room as well. I
Yeah,
like
he's
the
just always
culture
a
that the
happy
team
guy.
has. Yeah,
Oh, me too.
quick note about that Ducks game though,
Yeah.
we held all-star Frank Vatrano to no points,
Yeah, that's
so I
huge.
just wanna say this team is officially Stanley Cup favorite. You know how hard that is to keep Frank Vatrano
Eh,
pointless?
yeah,
Pointless,
that's a tough ask. You know what? We'll talk
man.
about Vetrano in a couple of minutes here.
Yeah,
Yeah, we just actually, or you got to see the whole game. I missed the second and third,
yeah,
unfortunately, due to me getting my ass handed to in a soccer game.
Ooh.
But, yeah, the Canucks, again, they win by a score of 2-1 in overtime versus the LA
Yeah.
Kings. Um, yeah, I'll just be honest, like, this kinda seemed a bit like a grindy game at the start, like, both teams are kinda feeling each other out.
Mhm.
Terrible D breakdown, and Trevor Moore scores, and then the Kings, they play this, it's not dumb, it's just like you're allowed to
Oh,
do it, but they play a 1-3-1, and it is just so tight. Like, if the Kings score first, man, you gotta fight with your life to get that goal back, and then they
yeah.
play scared again, and it's okay.
It's,
But, yeah.
I know you probably were gonna bring it up, but I do wanna bring it up, and it's the fact that when the Kings are playing that 1-3-1 and Hughes is standing there with the puck, like, "I'm not gonna take it up yet,"
Yeah,
and the
yeah,
fans start booing Hughes.
yeah,
It's like, "Dude, tell your boy PLD to go forecheck, man." Like, he's just
yeah.
standing at the blue line. It's so I hate the 1-3-1 so much. I was hoping because I don't did you watch the 3rd period? Were you able to make it back for that?
I literally got into the house as OT was just starting.
At the in the 3rd period with, like, a minute left, man, like, it was I think it was in the 3rd period, but the freaking Kings, they were pulling the 1-3-1, and he was just standing there, and he, like, looked at Hronik, and he's just like, "Okay, like, should we
Mhm.
just go for overtime, I guess?" And then the crowd started booing so loud, and he was eventually just, "Okay, like, I'll take it up then." And he took it up, and I was just like, "Dude, forecheck, man. Forecheck. Like, what are you doing?"
Kings have always kinda played that kinda, like, grindy kinda style of hockey in the
Yeah,
1-3-1, like, the reason that they give the Oilers such, like, hiccups within the playoff series that they've had over the last 2 years is because of the system that they play, and
yeah,
it's tough for Edmonton to, like, gain the zone, and if the Kings score on their counterattacks and whatnot, it's really tough to come back from this team, like, again, Oilers in those series were the better team at the end, obviously, or in the
yeah,
end, but Kings are no easy out. Like, you do have to give them props there, but yeah, it is a frustrating style of hockey to watch. I'm sure you've seen the famous clip of the Tampa Bay Lightning versus the Philly Flyers, and
yeah.
Tampa Bay's just passing it back and forth, making a mockery of the 1-3-1.
Well, they're like, "If you're not gonna forecheck, like, we're not gonna move the puck up." But
Oh, for sure.
I
Yeah, no.
I I don't like the Kings. I love Drew Doughty, like, not like love him. I hate Drew Doughty, but I have so much respect for him as a player. That's what I meant
Yeah.
to say. I have so
Fair
much
enough,
respect
yeah.
for him as a player. Like, he's such an all-time great, and that
Oh,
guy,
yeah.
like, I think, like, before this year, he had a couple of down years, and it seems like he's back to his prime, dude. Not maybe not prime, but as close to it as he can be. Besides that, I honestly can't stand Philip Deneau. I just don't like him. The way he like, obviously one of the best two-way forwards in the game, but the way he plays, like, defense is just so scummy, like, little hooks, little grabs. It's so annoying, like, I hate watching him, and I hate the way he takes faceoffs too.
You're talking about a two-way player in Philip Deneau, and you're not gonna mention, like, probably one of the most respected Kings of all time, Anze Kopitar.
No, I love Anze Kopitar.
I have Yeah, yeah.
I'm talking about, like, Philip Deneau that I can't stand the way he does his two-way game, whereas, like,
Yeah.
Anze Kopitar is probably the best two-way player in Kings history, and he plays
Oh, yeah.
such a clean and skillful game. Like, it's,
Yo,
Anze
his
Kopitar.
his
Who?
pass in the game where we got trounced by them 5-1,
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
can't remember who scored
Obs
that goal. It was Fiala, I believe.
It was Fiala, yeah.
Who by if we're talking about Kings players to hate or just a player to hate, I
Fiala.
cannot stand him, but that pass by Kopitar was world class. He is amazing. Yeah, I got all the respect in the world for him, and yeah, I respect Doughty as a competitor. I hate Doughty the player when you're playing him in a
Yeah,
playoff series just because I want him on my team.
yeah.
But yeah,
I like
no,
I hate him unless he's playing the Oilers. I
yeah,
love the way he handles the Oilers. That guy's such a goat.
yeah,
Like, oh
yeah.
my gosh.
No, he's a talker, so it's fun to watch some of the Doughty chirping videos and all that.
Yeah.
Um, and then you know what? This is a very realistic playoff matchup for Vancouver if LA happens
Mhm.
to slip out of the Pacific and go to the wild card. It's either going to be them or Vegas. Like I was saying to you before we
Aren't
started this
they
pod,
aren't they wild card right now?
I believe they're wild card right now, but I was just saying to you before the pod started that Edmonton has games in hand and they're still like relatively pretty hot. So Edmonton definitely makes Pacific, and then it's kind of just like a dogfight against the Kings and Knights to see who gets that third and last wild card spot or Pacific spot.
Vegas is wild card right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No way.
Also,
With that Kings point, they put them to third in the Pacific.
they're third in the Pacific. They both have 73 points, but the Kings have one less game played.
Oh wow,
Oh my god.
dude.
And
Vegas has been struggling. They're 2-7-1 in their last 10.
you don't hear a peep about it. That's the worst part. Yeah, you
Yeah.
wouldn't know unless you actually check the record. Like
They've
it's brutal.
had they've had their like big guns out though, like Mark Stone, Jack Eichel. So it makes sense to a certain extent, but at the same time, people are
Stop.
complaining about the cap because who are they
Stop.
gonna get with all that cap space, Brabby?
Anthony Mantha.
Yeah. Which, by the way,
I'm pretty sure
hey, for
Jack
a
Eichel's
depth,
back though.
yeah, Jack Eichel is back, but as a depth piece, I like the Mantha move for them. I think that's actually a good move.
Oh yeah, no, it's a great trade. I think the fact that they were able to get Washington retain 50%,
Yeah.
huge. That's big.
Washington getting back 2 draft picks from Mantha too is pretty solid, I'd say. But
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, the other thing I wanted to say about the Kings game, and one guy that I'm just not worried about at all, and I love the way he plays on defense is Carson Soucy. The Seuss is loose again, and he had a
Zeus is
great first game
back.
back.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
wonderful.
he didn't look out of place.
In the very
Also,
first play of the game, bro, he almost got caved in onto the
well,
they almost gave
he had a two
the
on
team
one,
almost
right?
gave but 2-on-1, and he's just like,
Yeah,
"Ah,
yeah.
I'll just get it out of here."
I know they tested him right away. They're like, "Yeah, yeah, this is the first game back as Vancouver Canuck. Miss us?"
Let's see
Uh,
what's up, bro. Like, oh my god. Man, that
um,
the decor missed him. And honestly, I kind
oh,
of
for
miss
sure,
Tyler Myers too. No cap. Tyler Myers
buddy.
he's been having a great year. He's
Oh,
been
he
having a
has.
great year.
Hey, let me tell you something right now about Tyler Myers. Tyler Myers makes hockey better to watch. Okay, he makes it more fun to watch. That's
Yeah.
what we know. That's just a fact. It either goes your way or it doesn't go your way. Sometimes he'll just take a clap bomb and it'll go in on Sorokin. And you're like, this guy's better than Wayne Gretzky. And other
Fact.
times he'll hit Pedersen into the into the boards. It's a 3-on-1 and the other team scores.
He's been doing some
Goes both
coast to
ways.
coast this year, which is kind of absurd to see.
Yeah, so, if we're talking about coast to coast and tall players, Zadorov
That guy
specifically.
moves.
Well, was it it was the Boston game, I believe. The Boston
Yeah.
game, he was skating miles, man. It was insane. Gunny and I didn't even talk about it, but yeah, my God, no. If Zadorov can play like that every like 2 to 3 games, I am here
Mhm.
for it. Like
Yeah.
that's what we wanted. He's starting to come out of his shell. He's looking a little bit more comfortable. So I'm really happy with the way Zadorov's been looking lately.
Yeah.
Also within this game, you can explain it to me how it happened. I just saw the highlight. We saw a little bit of vintage Demko in this game to keep us
Ooh.
1-1.
Oof, yeah, Kings break down the ice. I think it was Kopitar. It's Kopitar. I think it was Juleson back. At that point, the Kings are about to get a good chance. I love I love Noah Juleson. You're not stopping Hanse Kopitar.
No,
No
no.
shot. Kopitar, I think, slides it right underneath Juleson. Turcotte thinks he has an empty net. Demko says, young man, go home. This is my day. Demko with the glove. Oh my god. The building was just like, what did I just watch? Shorty, as always, just had such a great call on it, and like the save was just absurd, man.
Oh yeah,
Held it.
Shorty's call
And
was great.
it's crucial. And then they talked to Miller about it after, and Miller's just like post game, Miller's like, he's unbelievable, and like that save just shows like why like that guy's so good. That he held him in the game with that. Like the
Oh,
honestly, I stand like, dude,
100%.
if the game would have been over if they scored there.
Yep. No, 100%. He is, and I'll say this right now. I'm sure all Canucks fans know this, and obviously you want your star players to be star players come playoff time. The
Mhm.
biggest X factor for this team in every series is Demko. Demko
Facts.
is the guy that can steal series. If you have 3 games where he's like not on his stuff and Vancouver loses those, that's tough. But if the other 4 he's playing lights out, you win that series every time. That's the
Facts.
one thing Vancouver has a huge advantage on in most teams in the West outside of Winnipeg because Winnipeg has
Yeah.
Hellebuck. Um, yeah. Also, within this game, Pedersen gets his 30th of the year. So now we officially have three 30-plus goal scorers in Miller, Besser, and now Pedersen.
Yep.
Yeah.
You wanna know who's, is Hoglander on pace for 30? Kinda
Uh,
wonder.
I don't know if it's no, I don't think it's 30. People are talking about him being on pace for 25, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's
Um,
something along those lines. But dude, all even strength.
that's crazy. I think he's, like, ranked, like, 9th in the league, and he's, 3rd in, like, goals per 60 or something like that.
Yeah, no, it's insane. Yeah, for the deployment and stuff because he gets no power play time. Like, man, he's been amazing. And even tonight, like he gets the assist on Pedersen's goal. Like, he's been such a good like addition to that line. And like, yeah, it's hurt our bottom six a little bit with him being up,
Yeah.
but he deserves to be there. Like, Talkett's starting to trust him more, and it just shows. Like, he had probably one of his better games against the Ducks,
Yep.
and
He followed it up
tonight,
with a strong game tonight. I do
exactly.
I do wanna go through some honorable mentions for tonight's game.
Yeah, of course.
Ilya Mikheyev didn't look awful, so that's always a breath of
Yeah,
fresh air.
yeah,
Well, he was going in on the forecheck, there were a couple of plays where I'm like, "Man, what are you doing?" But, like, you can really tell that that guy is just in his own head. Like,
yeah.
it's kinda tough to watch. Um, Susie looked great. Zadorov was being physical, and Zadorov was being like a pest, and it was nice to see. Lafferty had a pretty good game, and another guy who had a really good game in my eyes was Podkolzin. He was going in on the forecheck. He was laying the body. He was in every single battle. There was a play that really stuck out to me. I think somebody passed the puck to him at our blue line, and he was carrying it out, and this guy dogged himself to the red line before he dumped it in. Like, he wasn't getting to the red line untouched, and he was just trying to power his way through, dumped it in, the team went for a change, and I just sat there and I was like, "Man, Tocchet probably loves that.
Oh,
Tocchet's
he
gonna
is
love it."
the Talkett player in my opinion. Like,
Oh,
um, I know it's only a 2 game stint so far. I don't think he's looked out of place, and yeah, he doesn't have to like it'd be nice if he can get on the scoreboard here. Like, I
mhm.
know he's not getting like crazy minutes, but that's just an added bonus if he does. As long as he's
He had a
playing consistent, that's all
Yep.
that matters.
He had a pretty wicked one-timer on the power play, though. Not gonna lie.
Mm. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
that's good to hear, man.
he was playing the PD 1T spot, and the
Yeah.
puck came over to him, and he blasted it. Missed the net, but he blasted it.
I remember when he was up before, he has, like, an NHL ready shot. His shot's
Mhm.
amazing.
Even his
Yeah, it
skating.
just yeah,
His
his skating
skating's
has
NHL
improved.
ready too. Like,
Yeah, like, now it is, I
yeah,
think. I
yeah.
think they've
It was
done, like, the
so chunky
perfect
before.
yeah. They've done the perfect amount of, like, seasoning with him and now
Yeah.
Hoglander. Like, I don't know if Podkolzin should stay up here for the rest of the season. We'll see. Also, like, some of the other, I was listening to Donnie and Dolly, and they kind of speculated this, which it kind of makes a lot of sense. But um, speaking of all like the trade deadline rumors and all that jazz, do you think Podkolzin's up here for a little showcase for other teams to be like, oh, hey, like this is what we have in Podkolzin. Do you want him or do you not want him? Do you think he's a trade chip?
I think
And would you
honestly,
would you want him to be a trade chip?
no, if I'm being honest, I'm still really high on Podkolzin, but I think that's what it's gonna take to get you a guy like Gensel.
Hmm.
That's what I'm giving Podkolzin up for, is a guy like Gensel.
Yep.
Um, if he is brought up just to be, what's it called, like a trade chip, then I completely understand it, but, he's showing well
Yeah.
for right now, and I'm hoping he sticks with the team, but, like, if they do move on from him, I'm not gonna be devastated, you know?
Yeah, I'm in the same camp as you. I get a little I try not to get attached to players as much as I used to now just because it's a business at the end of the day and you want to do what's best for your team. Like, I wish someone could just tell me, "Hey, if we trade for Gensel, we win the cup." And I'm like, "Yeah, let's go. I'll do that. I'll trade everybody if it means that
Yeah,
we're going to win the cup."
yeah,
Um that being said, like I said with Pod Colson's development, and like it looks like he's on the right path now, and it's similar to like Hoglander last year coming in
yeah.
this year. Like, if you don't trade him and you're able to keep him here, I think he could be on the club full time next year and he'll just be another Hoglander, if not maybe even better. You never know. They're different style
on
players for sure, but
an
yeah.
absolute bargain of a contract.
Oh
That's what
yeah.
you're gonna need to keep your cup window open is just these bargain contracts, and
Yep.
I think Podkolzin can be here full time next year, but if he does get shipped out for a guy that's ultimately gonna help us win a cup right now, like I'm kind of okay with it, you know?
Yeah, yeah. See ya. Again,
I'll
if
meet you at
it,
the
if
airport, my
if
friend.
someone can guarantee it for me that we win the cup if we trade X, Y, and Z, X, Y, and
Mhm.
Z gone. I don't even
Yeah,
think about them anymore. Okay. Um,
100%.
Speaking of this trade, though, I wanted to mention a couple of things with the trade deadline coming up here on Friday.
Yeah,
Earlier today, Chris Johnston tweeted out that Vancouver is like potentially like they've been thinking about it, where
yeah,
they could flip Lindholm to Boston. Which you know what, actually, when Lindholm signed with Vancouver, I was like, the only other place I could see that guy getting traded to is Boston because they're in dire need of centers.
yeah,
So Boston would get Lindholm. We would in return get Gensel. It'd be a three-way trade. I'm assuming we'd have to give up something like Podkolzin. They would give up like prospects or a pick to help us out to make the trade work for all three teams. This
mhm,
makes so much sense to me if it does happen.
yeah.
But at the same time, yeah, I don't know. Like it's in my opinion, I don't like I was talking to Gunbeer about this and I want to get your take on this. Like, do you think there's not a lot of time for Lindholm to like, he won't have enough time at this point, but do you think Lindholm's had a fair shake within this lineup, or do you think he's just been mixed and jangled with every other line and he doesn't really have like a consistency within this lineup yet? That's not on him, in my opinion. I think
No.
that's, he's still learning the systems. He just got to start practicing with his team last week because they came back home finally from the Eastern Road
Yeah,
swing. I
yeah.
don't think he's had a fair shake. That's my take. I'd like to get your thoughts on that.
I don't think he's had a fair shake either, but I do wanna say though oh, we have to talk about it just really quick.
Mhm.
Well, I'll answer your question first, but I think, yeah, I don't think he's had a fair shake, and I don't think it's fair to play him at the 3C position. I
Yeah.
think ultimately he's gonna thrive most with Pedersen. However, with Dakota Joshua being out, that is just absolutely, like, messing up the Canucks line, so I can see him being down there. If we trade him and we get Gensel, I'm okay with it. If we keep him, I'm honestly okay with it. Like,
Okay. Yeah. I'm in the same camp.
yeah, I think Lindholm penalty killing like tonight in LA, he had a great game. Like
Yeah.
he didn't score, he didn't get on the score sheet, but like he was involved in the play, and like there was times during his stint with the Canucks so far where I'm like, man, this guy just looks so lazy. Like he looks like he doesn't even want to be here. But tonight
Yeah.
he was on the forecheck and like he was doing what he was supposed to do, minus the goal scoring. Have to put out there Canucks Twitter the best because John Shorthouse just announces randomly Elias Lindholm has left the bench, and I immediately went to Twitter and everybody's like, Jake Gensel, you are a Vancouver Canuck. Bye
Yeah.
bye Lindholm. Is Lindholm getting traded? Alvin's a menace if he trades Lindholm mid game, and I'm just like, man, this guy can't even go take a shit without people just on his ass for it.
Man, Albina and Rutherford, though, at this point, like, okay, this is just a rumor currently, right? Like, it's nothing more.
Yeah.
Like, again, I do see like this could very, very much be like a possibility. Like, it makes a lot of sense for all teams. Pittsburgh needs to get some prospects, get a little bit younger. Boston needs a center. We need a top six winger to play with Pedersen full time, right?
Mhm.
And yeah, so that all makes sense. But dude, is Alvin playing like EA Sports NHL franchise mode? Like, what's going on here?
If
Like,
you
this guy just
honestly
loves to trade.
think about it this way, Matt. If we go out and we get Gensel, this is the most big brain play that I think you could ever see because at that point we just stopped any team in the West from getting Lindholm or
I
Gensel.
I know. That's insane. You know what? Actually, that is such a big brain play too. Because yeah, it takes like Edmonton, all these like these big hitters in Vegas, like out of the running to get him. You ship off the guy that you got. That was a big trade ship to the East, so you don't got to worry. And yeah, you get the big fish. That's actually in itself. That's the biggest brain play I've ever heard in my life.
I got to say
Um,
this: if that does end up going down, book it right now. Vancouver Boston Cup final.
Oh my god. I don't know if
The
I can
hockey
handle that
world wants to
again.
see it at that point. I wanna see it again. We're well equipped this well, not well equipped, but
Yeah, yeah.
we're a
I
different
like that
beast this
actually.
time, and Boston's a different beast this time. The one thing I
Mhm.
will give this team over before we, like, get back into the trade deadline stuff, the one thing
Yeah.
I will give this team over the, 2011 team is this team is a lot scarier on paper
Yes, I
with
do agree with that.
guys like Joshua, Zadorov, Myers, Susie, um, Lafferty, like, this team is kinda menacing. Um, Back to the trade deadline, though, my question for you is there anybody who fits the mold of, like, a Dakota Joshua that you want the team to go after? Apparently, they're out on Jordan Greenway because the asking price is just way too high.
Thank God. No, I don't
Yeah.
think Jordan Greenway was the play in any event.
No.
Um, to be honest, I haven't even really been focusing on like those like depth players that could play like a Dakota Joshua. I'm mainly like again, I am in the camp of Gensel. I know a lot of other people are wanting like a smaller trade, which you know what, if
Like a
Vancouver
Toffoli?
doesn't like a what, sorry?
Like, you're saying people want a smaller trade, I was just saying like a Toffoli, maybe a
Yeah,
Tarasenko or a Zucker.
Y exactly, yeah,
Yeah.
I apparently Zucker's a pretty high price too right now, but, like,
That's
yeah,
ridiculous.
Toffoli wanted to be a Vancouver Canuck before Jim Benning ran out of time, right? Like, Toffoli
Yeah.
liked being here, and, like, that's a very feasible, like, welcome home, like, he knows these guys, like, he would be amazing in the top 6, right? So, like, that
Well,
would
New
be a really good
Jersey
one.
New Jersey, the Tom Fitzgerald, I think, is the GM or whatever his name is. He
Yeah,
basically said that, like, he's not gonna, you know, see where they're at on Friday, and then they'll decide to go about their business. So he wants to
yeah.
see where the team is positioned on trade deadline before he makes a decision on wanting or on trading, what's his name? Tyler Toffoli and stuff like that. So I think that's completely boneheaded. Like, your team's not good. You just lost to the Ducks. Oh my gosh. You just lost to the Ducks, and today you just lost to the Panthers. Like, you're chalked. Move on. Get Tyler Toffoli out of there. Get some assets for him, and yeah,
Yeah, for sure. And like, I don't know. I just think, yeah, getting to Foley would be sweet. Like I said, I want the big hitter. Like, give me Gensel.
yeah.
But I get why fans are like, yeah, like let's try for Toffoli, let's try for Petrano if the price isn't crazy as well. But those are the players I
Vetrano,
think. Yeah,
Vetrano. I think the price will be high because he does have
yeah,
another year on his contract,
yeah.
and he's at a pretty good price right now. Like, his cap, it's pretty nice right now. So I don't think Vancouver gets Vetrano. I think
No,
obviously Gensel's the guy. If you could get Gensel and like Marcus Pedersen or something like that, mm, that'd be quite the trade. Obviously, we're selling the
oh,
farm. We're selling the
yeah, yeah.
farm.
That farm's leaving, man. That's the thing. Like, I don't know. There's just my head's spinning with like the all the possibilities. Yeah, I do agree with you. I do think Vetrano's like out of the play just because of the seasons he's having, and the Ducks are going to want to get like everything for Vetrano, obviously,
Yeah.
which is all fine. I think Toffoli, because he's a little bit older, probably a little bit cheaper, which would be nice. But that's the biggest need. We need a top 6 guy. We also, unfortunately, I was sad about it. We lost our not a trade chip, but we lost our boy in Chris Tanev. He became a Dallas
Our
Star last week.
father figure right there.
Our yeah, our team dad. We lost Chris
Jeez.
Tanev. That one hurt. I'm not gonna lie. I was really hoping for a reunion there.
Yeah. Well, at least got Ilya Labushkin, so that means we
Yeah.
won't get Ilya Labushkin, which I'm kind of happy about. You know, the Lord
Yeah.
gives and the Lord takes.
Well,
That's the way it goes.
and probably that's just the thing though too, right? Like obviously, like knock on wood, but Vancouver's had pretty good luck with injuries, and one of the
Why
best.
would you say that?
Hey, I'm knocking on wood.
No, you still don't say it.
All right, all right.
Throw the
Is
whole
it like
season in the garbage. It's over. It's over.
is it like the equivalent of saying the S word for the goalies, you think, or what?
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right, all
Man,
right.
hold on. I was watching the Oilers game today, and Louis DeBrusk was tossing that around when Omar got a shutout.
Of course
Louis
he was.
DeBrusk.
He's a massive homer.
Oh god. Anyways,
When him and Singh are on the broadcast for the national broadcast and they have to like keep it together for when the Oilers are like scoring, it is hilarious because you could just feel them. Like they just bleed orange and blue, man.
Yeah.
Oh my god. But I was just gonna say, like, the best acquisition for defense that the Canucks can get right now, and they just got it back today, is Susie.
Mhm.
You know, so you just I'm happy that Susie's back. It gives us a full decor again. Once Myers is back too next week,
Yeah, I was gonna say, don't
supposedly,
disrespect my boy Tyler Myers like that.
yeah, Dakota Joshua is supposed to be good to go next week as well, which is huge for this club and its third line. Man, imagine being Connor Garland, man, just being this nice little guy on the team, and you're missing your big bro.
Yeah, facts.
Also,
I'm
what
looking.
a sorry, go
Go ahead.
ahead.
No, you first.
I was just gonna say, what a trajectory, man. Like at the start of the year, these guys fought in practice, right?
Mhm.
Like, do you remember that? Like like Roenick got like clipped in the ankle or some shit, and then there was just like some weird kerfuffle. They go at it. Garland's like, I want out of here. Now they're best friends and they muck it up in the corners and they just
Yeah.
I don't know. I love that storyline this year. I can't get enough of it.
My question for you,
Yeah.
how many I'm not gonna say deadline day deals,
Mhm.
but we'll say from tomorrow's Wednesday, deadline's Friday. So from
Yep.
tomorrow till Friday, how many trades do you think the Canucks do?
That's a tough one, man. Because that, you know what? If we go after the mega fish and we get rid of our big fish, it's going to be one, and it's going to be Gensel, and that's it. However, I don't know. I just I feel like that's so fantasy land. Like if that happens again, this is straight out of like EA NHL. It's just a weird
Yeah.
like the fact that that was like rumored again. It makes sense, but I'm like, man, this guy's playing on like rookie mode right now or something. It's just he
Yeah.
loves to trade. So if that doesn't come to fruition, I expect Vancouver to make two moves tops for a scoring winger and then like a depth defenseman, like another seventh defenseman, just in case injury comes to haunt them or whatever, right? So that's my take. I think two trades tops.
Uh, dang, I was gonna pick 2.
You asked
I
me
don't wanna
first, man. You should have said.
I don't wanna pick okay, I'm not gonna pick 2. I'll say this. Okay, so if the Lindholm trade happens and we get in Gensel, I'm gonna say we end up making 2 trades.
Yep.
If that trade doesn't happen, I'm gonna say we make 3 trades.
All right. All right. I like that. Yeah.
But I do think 3 is kind of a stretch. I just didn't wanna pick the same answer.
No, 100%. I think I even think two's pushing it. Like we don't have a lot of room, like for wiggle room or whatever, to
Yeah.
make some trades happen. So there's a lot of bending over and like getting some retention. I'm assuming for teams. Yeah. Again, I this if this Lindholm thing happens, I am
Crazy.
I'm gonna be laughing, man. I'm gonna be like in hysteria, like
Yeah.
I or hysterics. I just like yeah, this is wild. This
That'd be
management group is
absolutely
crazy.
oh my god.
Dude,
I
you were
don't even know.
getting again, I want Lindholm to succeed here. I don't want to get rid of Lindholm. If this does happen though, you're getting an absolute monster of a playoff performer in Jake Gensel. You officially
Yeah.
solidify dynamic duos for your top two lines. You have Miller and Besser, which have been there the whole year, and then you have Pedersen and Gensel. And can you imagine Pedersen setting up Gensel, Hoaglander going in for the forecheck, crushing some guys? Like, dude, Gensel is a playoff performer, and people,
Yeah.
like everyone's like, oh, he just plays with Crosby. It's like, no, no, no. You don't just get 40 goal seasons. They don't just come off of trees. All right. Like this guy is legit. And
Yeah.
he's going to be playing with Pedersen, who's another elite player, an elite talent. He will find his game with Pedersen. But
Yeah.
that's if he comes here again. Lindholm, I love you. And I hope you start killing it and getting on the score sheet soon. I like your 200-foot game. Your two-way game's great. Just
Yeah.
start scoring.
Yeah.
uh,
I'm not gonna be heartbroken if we don't get Gensel. That's the way I'm looking at it. You know,
exactly. Yeah.
I'm not selling myself on like we're gonna get Gensel and then we don't get Gensel and then I'm sad for the next week.
Yeah.
So if we get Gensel, pleasant surprise. If we don't get Gensel, I'm okay with it.
Christmas in March, man. It's crazy.
Oh, honestly, yeah, bro.
Yeah, we got for the week ahead here, Vancouver. They only play two more games. They have the sorry, I'm just looking for
Vegas.
this schedule.
Two
Yeah.
two big games, Vegas and Winnipeg.
Yeah. So yeah, they play Vegas in Vegas on Thursday at 7, and then I will be traveling to the game in Vancouver on Saturday against the Winnipeg Jets. So that should be exciting.
Let the people know your address, where you're staying, and everything.
I'll let them know. Party at my place. But no, I'm really excited. I haven't seen a game this year yet, and again,
Yeah.
the way this team's been playing, it'll be good. I'm sure I'll get a good goalie matchup in Hellebuck and Demko that game, so I'm looking forward to it.
This is once again, it goes back to the, like Vegas, we got stomped out the first game, and I don't think we played them since. So I'm
Nope.
actually I expect this team to win this game, and I'm
Yep.
not gonna lie, I expect the same thing with, Winnipeg because we've been doing it all year. The first game that we play against these heavy, like, top end teams, we lose the first game, and we rebound in the second game. We just did it against the Kings.
Yep.
We did it against the Leafs. We did it against the Rangers. I think we did it against the Lightning.
Yep.
Like, I'm expecting this team to pull off some wins or at least get pick up a couple points here.
For sure, yeah, and yeah, like the last game the Canucks played against the Winnipeg Jets was on the 17th of February. They lost 4-2. So
Mm.
yeah, they'll have a little bit of ammo to hopefully win that one, and hopefully they don't ruin my night because a lot rides on this game for me in Vancouver. Um, yeah.
Fair.
Anyways, yeah, no, I'm excited for that. Do you got anything else to add with trade deadline, rumors, or just the Canucks in general, league news?
Mm, league news. Nothing, honestly. Like, we haven't seen many. Yeah, it's crazy. Like, the Anthony Mantha trade kind of came out of nowhere. Like, we don't know what these GMs are doing, and I feel like it's been a while since it's been
Hmm.
like that. You know, I'm just hoping for an eventful trade deadline. Barry Trotz came out and said the asking prices right now on rentals is absolutely through the roof. I hope that dies down. There's a lot of buying going on,
Yeah.
but I think we're in for a good next couple days as hockey fans, and I think we're in for a good next couple months as Canucks fans.
I agree. I don't think he's wrong too. If he's saying the asking prices are ridiculous, like they'll have to die down if teams are going to want to get uh their prospects and picks, and
Yeah,
like otherwise those trades don't happen. You let these players like Genso walk into free agency, which obviously won't happen. They will make a deal happen. But
yeah,
yeah, it'll be crazy. It's either going to be a crazy overpayment, which I think GMs are willing to do if it comes down to the wire,
yeah. Oh yeah,
or it's going to be this guy went for that? Went for
yeah,
peanuts? That's what's gonna
yeah,
happen. It's gonna be one extreme to the next. We will see on Friday. Yeah, the other thing I wanted to say, I haven't been able to say it for the last pod. I didn't get to say it, I believe, but Canucks are officially not first in the league. I always started off with that, and it was for a
yeah.
long time. Florida has now taken that game in hand, and they have 3 points up on us, 90-87.
I'm okay with it.
Yep. Don't matter. Honestly, all we have to do is win the Pacific, and I'm happy with
Mhm.
that. Oilers have 4 games in hand, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, they have
Actually,
4
all we
games
have
in
to
hand.
do is win the West. That's what I want.
Oh yeah, that would be amazing if we won the West. But I just
Yeah,
getting the first place in Pacific is going to be huge because then you don't have to face either LA, or you might have to face either LA, Vegas, or Vegas. I think because the Oilers are definitely a lock for the Pacific. It'll just come down to if they can win those games in hand.
yeah, yeah.
So we will see. It'll be some exciting hockey down the stretch. We do play them one more time too, and they are their brand new team. So that'll be a
Oh,
fun game.
I've got that one circled.
Oh yeah,
I'm
me
looking
too,
forward to
dude.
that one so
Yeah,
much, man.
we're watching that one together.
Oh
We
yeah,
gotta
we'll get
cheer.
we'll get Evan here too.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. Okay,
Alrighty.
take us out.
Alrighty. Well, thank you guys again so much for listening to the What the Nuck podcast. You could follow our Instagram and X or Twitter at What the Nuck Pod, and our YouTube channel and TikTok at What the Nuck. This has been the What the Nuck podcast. Have a great week, folks.